Hello all and welcome to All Red, a big match at the weekend for the Reds as they travel to Old Trafford. But perhaps they will have new successes at Old Trafford as Arne Slot comes up against Manchester United for the first time. This is the channel that is all Liverpool all the time. It's all red, actually. Please consider liking this video and subscribing. And of course, drop comments below. Tell us what you think about this upcoming match. Of course, it's Aaron from London back on the show. Aaron, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm excited, mate. I want to smash these guys at the weekend, so I'm excited.
Let's smash them. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I do think that if Liverpool are able to go into Old Trafford and do what they've done to Ipswich and Brentford and play a very controlled game and really just kill Manchester United with the ball, I think there are going to be some big questions for Ten Hag at United. Big questions. But there are big questions now, Aaron, as we look at the potential starting 11 for Liverpool against Manchester United. I've left the first choice on here because I don't think there are going to be massive changes. So I don't think we need to spend all the time in placing all these players where they need to be. But, there could be potentially one or two changes at the weekend. And let's discuss them. Now, I think you told me that you have some theories about potential changes in the starting 11. I'll just open it up to you, Aaron. What are you thinking here?
I don't think it will happen, but this would be absolutely a game where I would look at the likes of an Endo. Yeah,
really?
Yeah. A team that are going to be attempting at home to be on the front foot. United are trying to play a bit of possession football at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think a lot against the likes of ManU, and I would imagine it'll be Casemiro will play initially, and then Ugarte, once Ugarte has been sorted, I'm sure he will slip in place of Casemiro, but I expect ManU and Casemiro to start. I just think it needs someone that can match the physicality of a Casemiro. And Endo is a bulldog.
Yeah.
So he would be. I don't think he'll do it because I think he wants to control the ball slot and he's quite brave. But I feel United will have a good bit of possession in this game, and I would put an enforcer. I would play an enforcer in this game, and I'd possibly look at Gravenberch maybe not being there. Okay. Yeah, he's done great in the first two games against. What we would call lesser opposition. Yeah. What I don't want to do is put him in against Man United and have a real struggle because he's under pressure, like physical pressure, and you're playing against a much better team than sort of Brentford and Ipswich. I don't want to dent this guy's confidence, and I want to manage him.
Yeah. Well, and I think, we saw Ipswich come out straight away and they were very physical. I mean, they were fouling, hard fouls. There were 2 or 3 of our players on the floor in the first 10 minutes. And that might've put us off in that first half. That first half was rough. But then you saw what we were able to do in that second half. It's interesting with Slot. It seems like he wants to build some cohesiveness with his starting 11. It's been very similar. One change, which was Konate, who really it was almost like he started that Ipswich game because he came in at halftime and really cemented his place. Gravenberch, for me, has done really well. Probably one of the best players so far in these first 2 matches. And at the same time, I agree with you. I think, Manchester United probably come out with a game plan to be a little bit more physical. And I do think they will be, for all the issues that they've had last year and even the beginning of this year, they'll be the best attack that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And, the last time we faced them last season, they scored 4 goals against us. So
we
can't discount
that. We capitulated in that game, though, Sam. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yes, of course. Yes. And, you look at the stats from last season, the 2 Premier League games. It was like 3,000 shots that we had in those 2 games.
I think 38 shots in the first half. Yeah. In the first game, sorry, apologies.
In the first game.
And we drew 0-0.
Which was a record, a record that we I mean, it's a cool record, but the fact that we didn't score any goals is a massive issue. I don't see that being an issue this time around, but I would like to see us really control that midfield. That FA Cup game last season that we lost, it was chaotic. It was, I mean, there were so many gaps. They had so many fast break chances where it was 3v2, and I don't want to see that. I want to see us control the game. I want to see us dropping back. And at the same time, I'm really interested to see once we do regain possession against United, how are we able to kind of cut through them like we've seen, in that second half versus Ipswich, and some really beautiful, beautiful passages of play against Brentford. So, all right, back to the starting 11. It's hard to take anyone out of here, honestly.
Agree.
Do you think Konate starts in place of Kwanzaa again?
I think Konate's been the best since he's come in against Ipswich. He's been the best defender on the park.
He's been fantastic.
He has been a physical monster.
Yeah.
He has been the and listen, Van Dijk doesn't look like he's broken into too much of a sweat in the first two games neither.
Yeah.
But Konate, I mean, his last ditch challenges, his ball play, his carrying, his passing, everything's been on point with Konate. And we've been maybe critical of Konate in maybe being a little bit disjointed and a bit reckless at times, but he's had a really good 1.5 games, and for me, him and Van Dijk are the partnership right now. I think Kwanzaa, you may have to wait his little turn, and hopefully it's not a Konate injury.
Right. Yeah, Konate, I think he's proved me wrong. I said before the season started that I preferred Kwanzaa there, and very quickly, how quickly that has been proved false. And I don't know who you take off from this starting 11.
This cases though, Sam. There's a case in a couple of positions. Endo being one of them. Endo would give you that security and that physicality in the middle of the park, and he'd compete and not get bullied by Casemiro. However, Casemiro was also fairly slow. Yeah. If Gravenberg, apologies. Apologies.
Thank you.
If this guy is on form, I mean, he could run the game. He's that good, Gravenberg.
Right.
And McAllister hasn't put a foot wrong either. In fact, actually, McAllister's been great. So these two together, for me, they'll start. But I could put a case forward for maybe that little bit of protection for Gravenberg, keep his morale high, and put an enforcer in there, and just say, right, do you know what? We're gonna fight you as well as play silky, fast-paced football.
Yeah. I think with the way that Liverpool defend now, we defend much more narrow. And I think it kind of limits the defensive liability of, not having a true defensive-minded number 6 in there. And it kind of limits some of the liabilities with, Trent getting more forward and Robertson getting more forward. They were both in the box against Brentford. The attacking third against Brentford quite a bit. But the fact that we keep it so tight in the middle, really, the only issue I have with Endo is that's a massive liability when we are in possession because of the way that Slot wants to play the ball out of the back. And
slow pace football, isn't it?
Slow, but that number 6 that Gravenberg plays is so pivotal because he's back here when we have possession. Trent's coming up here.
He's a ball carrier, though, isn't he? That's the difference between Gravenberg and Endo. He's a ball carrier.
He is, and that's where one little touch from Gravenberg, when he does get
doesn't it? It's
open
amazing.
here. Robertson's able to get him the ball, and one little touch, and all of a sudden we're on a break here where Gravenberg's got the ball. Salah, Jota, Diaz, Soboslai, we've got 6 players now with Trent in addition, and they might have 4 or 5, and that's the Gravenberg magic is one little touch, one little pocket of space you give him, and boom, He's gone.
It's that pirouette, isn't it? It's that little
It
spin
is.
on the ball where he just
It
drags the
is.
ball. Mate,
I think
he
he
takes
just.
the ball with him, mate. It's glorious to watch. I love
Yeah,
seeing him spin with the ball.
it's like he's wearing ballet
Oh,
slippers
he's
on the
great, mate.
pitch.
Listen, he's arguably been in the top 3 performers in the first 2 games. So do you know what? It would be, I think it would be unfair for him to sit on the bench against Manchester United.
Oh, totally.
And what's on the screen, Sam? I believe that's what the starting lineup is.
I think so too. And maybe what we consider here is, all right, if the game is 0-0, or hey, if we're down 1-0, what changes would Slot make?
This is interesting. This is
yeah.
where I can't. Slot makes changes that you wouldn't expect, but when he makes them, you go, I can see that.
Yeah.
This guy, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, potentially, if we do need a goal with 20 to 30 minutes to go, I think we've seen the model here for Bradley to come in, but does Trent Alexander-Arnold move up the pitch instead of coming off?
Yeah. I don't think he'll take Trent off this week.
He's so crucial to so much of what we do in possession because the defense has to be honest against Trent everywhere on the pitch. I'm curious if we see did Diaz, if we need a goal, I don't see Diaz coming off. I don't see Salah coming off.
I can see Gakpo coming on for Jota and Jota being managed. And the reason why I say that, Sam, is I feel they'll leave Trent on and they'll look at Trent's ability to whip that ball in, and Gakpo, all 6'3" of them, getting on the end. Gakpo's actually really good in the air as well. I can see Liverpool getting out wide and Salah and Trent whipping balls in, maybe even Szoboszlai as well, whipping balls in and feeding Gakpo in the last 20, 30 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
I think he'll keep Trent on because I don't think he's going to want to tip Trent too much over the edge, and make it look like he's picking on him. But at the same time, Bradley needs games.
Yeah. Bradley come in, we can see a fluidity here on the front. And if we do need a goal, I'm not sure Endo's the guy to come in place of Gravenberch, but no. Potentially.
No, it's not going to happen.
We've seen Slot make defensive changes to open up our attack. But having Trent just free to stay up and receive the ball, and him and Salah, doing 1-2s with each other. Trent, if Szoboszlai is on, there's just so much firepower that you have to defend everywhere on the pitch. So I think it's interesting. We gotta do our score predictions here, Aaron. I think this is the trickiest one so far this season. And if we go back to the starting lineup here, just to think through, what do we think is going to happen, Aaron? I think I went first last week, so you got to go first this time. What are you thinking?
My opinion is I feel that Ten Hag will get his act together in this game because he has done on a number of occasions. I think everyone can see that Garnacho needs to play on the left wing. Yeah. Now, if it wasn't against Liverpool, would he play Garnacho? I don't think he would. I think he'd still play Marcus Rashford and try and play Marcus Rashford into form and bring Garnacho on 20, 30 minutes to go. I think he'll start Garnacho, and I think Garnacho will give Trent some problems. I can see Man United 100% scoring. If we turn up in an attacking sense like we have been recently, I think this will be separated by 1 goal. And I think we can beat United 2-1. That I feel is based on our form, based on how organised we look right now. I feel we look really organised.
We do.
And also based on Man United don't necessarily have a number 9 to start at the weekend, but I feel they'll probably play Xerxes through the middle and drop Bruno Fernandes back in that attacking midfield role and try and dictate the game. And they'll try and look for the height. But I think Konate and Van Dijk thrive on that physical battle. And Xerxes a big physical guy. So I think Konate and Xerxes' inexperience may come into play, and I think Van Dijk and Konate might push him around a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm going 2-1, Sam, to Liverpool.
2-1 to Liverpool. I'm gonna go similar, but not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 3-1 to Liverpool. I'm feeling good, Aaron. I know we had issues against Manchester United last season. I think the difference in style that we have now kind of mitigates some of those issues we had last season. The fact that, I'm hoping Jota is starting for us. We don't have the issues we had in our attack last season where we have 38 shots with really nothing to show for it. Diaz is on form. His ability to put the ball in the back of the net right now. Salah as well. His ability to score. And then Jota, and you have McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberg. You just have so much potency there. And Manchester United, not the best defensive team right now. They were carved open by Brighton quite a bit there. That last goal in the 95th, 6th minute or whatever was just shocking defense. I mean, just shocking. The amount of space over the top on that far side that they gave Brighton. And
Brighton only had 3 players unmarked at the back post. I think they only had 3 at the back post. It was good. Yeah. It was good from United. I was really impressed.
It was decent.
It was good,
at
mate.
least
It was
there wasn't 4 or 5.
Mate, that's what 200 million gets you. Yeah, 200 million gets you that level of competency.
Yeah. And I feel like Salah and Jota in particular really thrive in an environment like this. And we know Salah loves playing against Manchester United. We know Jota loves playing against Manchester United.
I'm going to disagree with you, Sam. I'm going to disagree with
you
on one thing. One thing. We have to disagree on something.
All right, good.
Salah has not had great games against Diogo Dalot. When Diogo Dalot plays left back, Salah's had a little struggle with him. Dalot's quick. He's quite aggressive against Salah, and he's pace for pace with Salah. I think Salah I think Salah will get free at the weekend, and Salah is clinical at the moment. But Dalot has given Salah problems over the last few games that we've played them in.
Okay, that's fair.
I think Mazraoui gets absolutely buried by Diaz on the other side.
Yeah. Yep. You look at Salah's record against United in the league. Last season scored a goal against them away, by the way. 2 goals in at the home fixture in 22-23 and a goal away. 2 goals against United at Anfield in 21-22 and 3 goals against them at Old Trafford in 21-22. So I think the record is there for him. I think he does. I think he does like to score against United. And I am so excited, Aaron. That's the magic about this. We're talking about a Liverpool team that has only played 2 Premier League matches under our new manager. I think when the managerial search happened last year, everyone was saying, okay, it's going to be tough for a year. Like, we're going to have to get into the swing of things with the new manager, new style, whether that was, Xabi Alonso or whoever it was going to be. And I'm already just so excited to see us play against Manchester United away at Old Trafford. I'm not really worried. I mean, we could go in and we could lose. We could lose that match. We could draw that match. But the pressure is just kind of off at this point.
We like pressure as well, Sam, yeah.
We do like pressure. But what I'm saying is we can go in and play free-flowing football. And I feel like Ten Hag has, 200 million more pounds of pressure on him, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Especially because we will have 0 new players featuring in that game, whereas they've spent 200 million pounds this summer on mediocrity, if you were to ask me. So there's far more pressure on them. I'm excited. It's going to be fantastic to watch. Really against I think they're still considered a top 6 team, Manchester United. Just the
Can I
history
ask you a
there.
question, Sam?
Yes.
So you said something there before. We were talking about maybe Xabi Alonso, the uncertainty and maybe just get away with a season and da-da-da-da-da. If you bring Xabi Alonso in, my expectation was if Xabi Alonso comes in, he's challenging. After the season that he just had at Bayer Leverkusen, basically winning the double and, moments away from the treble.
Yeah.
You're not bringing in someone that's just cleaned up for a project. I believe if they were looking at Xabi Alonso, they were looking at someone to come in and start competing again with Man City and Arsenal. I don't believe that was a project at all. I think they've looked at this with Slot as well. I think Slot in Holland with minimal funds, they've picked the right guy to come in and compete at the top level on pennies, because that's what FSG do throw at the club, is pennies. And you know what? If they go and get 3 or 4 bargains, and we end up getting 3 or 4 really good players for very little money, I'll still walk away and say fair play. Yeah. For me, if they come in, they wear the shirt well, and they play to the best of their abilities, 9 times out of 10, they'll be absolutely welcomed by the Liverpool fan base. Yeah.
Yep.
There's not many players that come into Liverpool and we don't get on with.
Right.
So I think they've brought Slot in not to just get through the first season. I think they brought him in. I think they brought him in to compete.
Oh, I think so too. And I think he's one of the best managers to take what currently is and see it long term and say, here's what we're going to do long term. Here's the plan. We're not just planning for this season. We're planning for 5 to 10 years out here.
Yeah.
And you can see the legwork that they've already done this summer. Yes, very minimal transfers, but what they have done is they've really planned for the future. And I really, really hope that they're able to bring in, like you said, maybe 1 or 2 more bargains, 1 or 2 more players that can fit into this first team. Maybe not be starting 11 caliber, but at least say, hey, somebody to back up Andy Robertson, somebody to be a left-footed center back that can also play a left back. Just give us little bits and pieces of hope here. And I think, I think Chiesa is that. I think Chiesa comes in and can, has the potential to be almost, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but one of those players where it's like you bring him in, maybe on the low end, a Shaqiri type player, good player, on the high end, potentially, maybe a ring or 2 below Luis Suarez, where Suarez came in and it was like, okay, this guy's got a weird record, kind of a weird guy, has some issues, but obviously came in and was absolutely world class. The potential is there. So we'll leave it at that. Drop your score predictions below in the comments, and we are going to see, I think, some very fun and interesting football at the weekend at Old Trafford.
Yeah, of course.